bring you. I'll bring you up to speed on. I don't know what's happening on the ground. I do know that. The Salt Lake Tribune, which called me a Nazi sympathizer, with a fact, almost factless opinion piece, where they had. I mean, Stu just took the easy ones and found 8 errors. Not only the easy ones, the top two that we thought were, I mean, that's just ridiculous. They got the name of the program wrong, and they got the location of where Man in the Moon was.
So those 2 of the 8 they've corrected.
And then yesterday they said, I think they granted us, it was Alexandra Carl who wrote the initial op-ed, and it says Carl's op-ed did have a couple of factual errors. Really?
Which we corrected.
Yeah,
which we corrected.
And the 2 were, like you said, the title and the location.
Right, but they did not correct the things like I owned the Nuremberg banner. I don't own that.
Yeah,
right. I don't own that. The Hitler's blood, that's wrong. The Goering love letters, they first of all leave out that they're love letters to his Jewish mistress. That's what makes those important. Just Goering love letters do not make them important. They're love letters to his Jewish mistress.
If I remember one of the big Holocaust movies that's come out in the last couple decades, I can't remember which one it was. Downfall, it was one of them. That featured that talked about that that particular thing because it was so interesting. It's such an interesting thing that this Nazi had a Jewish mistress.
Right.
So to say that it's not an interesting thing to actually show physical evidence that this occurred is insanity from someone who would care about history. Of course, they're incredibly vital.
So he says, now this is from the Tim Fitzpatrick. He is the associate editor of the Salt Lake Tribune. He said Carl's piece did have a couple of factual errors that were corrected online and in print correction. It originally called the show Man on the Moon, blah, 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 blah. But otherwise, the questions about the piece are in the realm of opinion. No, they're not.
No,
I either own those things or I don't.
Right, there's no opinion.
And her whole point was he owns those. Why would he own them? Only a Nazi sympathizer would own them.
Right.
That's what she.
And
that's
you
her whole
don't
point.
own them.
I don't own them.
And for a newspaper to just leave alone the so-called opinion that you're a Nazi sympathizer is abominable.
Well,
I mean,
they say
for them to just leave that out there.
They say that's an opinion, although an admitted provocative.
Provocative, my ass.
Yeah.
That goes far beyond provocative.
It's slanderous. Editorial writer George Pyle has been fielding calls and letters all week from angry Beck fans. And he said outside of the 2 corrections, no one has pointed out factual errors in Carl's piece.
So I did.
No one?
I did to them on Twitter last night.
Yeah,
Twitchy reported and others.
How many times have we done it this week?
Yeah.
We pointed out for him quite a few times.
But I didn't even go after the Nazi sympathizer stuff. The fact that you've won the Zionist Organization of America's Defender of Israel Award, how could that person be a Nazi sympathizer? It's insane. But forget about all of those things. I just did stuff like, hey, the room that she described is not an adjoining room. How would you make that mistake if you went? If you went to the museum, how would you make that mistake? You wouldn't, because she wasn't there. Right. Ask her if she was there.
Right.
They have not done that. Or the stuff that you owned, the fact that it's not even a handkerchief. They're like, the handkerchief has Hitler's blood on it. Well, we don't know that it's Hitler's blood, and it's a napkin. So you're completely wrong on that.
2 inaccuracies in that one line.
I didn't even go with the rally thing. I thought that was too complicated for them. Let's just get the actual physical ownership of items right. How about that? Especially when it's vital to your point.
That is your case.
Yeah.
He owns these. Her line was, why would he own these? Only a
Nazi
sympathizer would preserve them. So, it's not me. I don't own them. Oops. And so they have doubled down. Now, I have to tell you that Michelle Malkin, she wrote a piece yesterday. Do you guys have that piece by any chance?
I don't.
Shoot.
I did. Hold on one second. I do have it here. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, grab it. Otherwise,
now, did she print this? Because I know she sent it in. The only reason I hesitate in reading it because I know she sent it in to the Salt Lake Tribune because she was thinking. Now you get a free column from Michelle Malkin. You run it. She's like the biggest columnist in America, and she just wrote you a letter to the editor. You run that every time if you care about the truth and if you care about your freaking newspaper.
They won't run it.
And I'm sure they won't, but I just don't want to give them an excuse to not run it by saying it's already been read.
Find out if but she wrote a blistering editorial. I just got it in my mailbox last night, and I'm Michelle, you're just the best.
She's awesome.
And she's really pissed.
She was
really
there.
pissed.
She went through the museum.
What she said. Mm-hmm. That's what she said.
Doesn't seem like the author went through that.
No. No.
Now, cancel your subscription to the Salt Lake Tribune.
No.
Why?
I don't.
Why do you?
Stu is laughing every time. Seriously.
I'm serious.
What
of course
is
you're
it?
serious. It's just making me laugh because you said it 5,000 times over the past 24 hours.
But what is it? I mean, really, what is it that if you are a listener of this program, and I mean, the Salt Lake Tribune, they endorsed the president.
Yes, against Mitt Romney.
They endorsed the president.
75% of Utahns, or 73, 75, something very close to that, voted for Mitt Romney.
They are so
out of touch.
They're so out of touch. They're so
not
out of step.
Utah.
And you are funding them.
Yeah.
You're funding them. You're giving them the money to further these opinions.
Stop it.
And beyond that, you're giving them the clout. They can say, well, we're a growing newspaper, or we're a newspaper we're the number one newspaper in the state. Why? Do you know how close it is between them and the Deseret News?
27,000.
If everybody who disagreed, everybody who said every day, oh, this rag, it's nothing but a rag, if you would stop buying the newspaper, they'd be out of business. So I don't understand why.
And it's one thing. If you don't have an alternative, you must have the newspaper. I got to get the sports page. I don't even read the opinion piece. You've got a great alternative in town at the same time, a morning delivered newspaper called the Deseret News. Why not subscribe to that? It's just so easy. It's a no-brainer. Cancel your subscription to the Salt Lake Tribune.
I'm going to continue to laugh because it makes me laugh that you're. I don't think I've ever seen Pat more passionate about anything.
I don't know if
I think he was. Yeah, he was.
Pat was more passionate on this. Pat called me when he saw it. Yeah, he was like, "You're suing them. You're suing them."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "No, I'm not." And he's like,
"If you're not going to call legal, I'm going to."
Yeah, you're suing them.
And it's funny when you guys were on the plane discussing that. I was on the air trashing the Salt Lake Tribune for the article. It was so infuriating because look, journalism we know sucks. But to see it done at this level, to see a newspaper go to these depths to bash you when, believe me, we do it for a living, there's a lot of stuff to bash you on.
I don't care if you disagree with me. I really don't care if you disagree with me. But to lie about me, and that's what this is.
Well, I have never said cancel your subscription to the New York Times or the Washington Post, because they've never run a hit piece like this on you that I'm aware of. This is the worst thing I think I've ever seen on you.
Well, mainly
can you think of a worse
of the factual inaccuracies, like
the factual inaccuracies and the libelous, slanderous, whichever is print. A statement in this that he's a Nazi sympathizer is just beyond.
I feel like that's
reason.
Been out there.
I don't know.
No, they've said that I am a Nazi,
an anti-Semite.
Anti-Semite. Yeah,
yes.
But they're saying that I'm preserving this history.
Yeah,
ugly.
I'm preserving this history because I'm a Nazi sympathizer,
and almost with the insinuation, if not the downright claim, that you're preserving it for the purpose of bringing that back.
And Pat can tell you, I don't even have some of this stuff in a safe in my house.
Right,
I don't even
it's so
want
nasty.
it in my house. I think it's so evil. I don't even want it in my house. I don't have it here, and I don't have it in my house. I don't want anything. I don't want it around me at all. And, you can call me whatever you want. You can call me a freak or whatever. I've had prayer groups come over and pray to get all of the bad mojo off of that stuff, because I don't want anything to do with it. There has been, Pat was with me one day when we were participating in an auction, and there were two pieces of things that were three things that were up for auction. One was the sword of Mussolini, and it is the one that he wrote about and said, I knew when I received this sword who I was, and the fascists were right, and I had to do what I had to do. And on the hilt of the sword, I don't remember what it said, but it said something like, a leader just does what he has to do, something like that. And it's a very famous sword, and I couldn't believe it came up for auction. And tried to grab that for our museum. Why am I collecting these things? For a museum with David Barton. And that's why I'm collecting it.
And to show people, it is so much. Do you not understand, Salt Lake Tribune? The visual is so much more powerful than just the audible statement that, hey, this stuff existed. When you show people, it has such a powerful impact.
Yeah.
And when you can show them the actual items of this kind of evil, it's so revolting to them, they want to avoid it in the future.
Shotgun. Charlie Manson's shotgun. I can tell you all about Charlie Manson's shotgun, but when I'm standing there with Charlie Manson's shotgun, everybody's breath is taken away.
Yeah, big difference.
Why does the Holocaust Museum keep horrible things from the Nazi regime? Are they
pictures.
Nazi sympathizers?
Yeah, it's so
Or are
ridiculous.
they trying to warn people of what's coming?
But they'll say they're real, true historians.
Well, of course that's what they're going to say. Yeah. But the truth is that you're doing the exact same thing. You are saying that this is among the very few worst things humanity has ever done to other people of the human race.
And by the way, we shouldn't do this again.
We should not do this again. And we should make sure that this does not happen again. And the way to do that is to remember history so we do not repeat it.
Yeah, how do you never forget if you don't show people what it is that we need to avoid all the time? Because we have forgotten over and over again.
You know what she didn't show or she didn't talk about? Because she didn't see them, because I contest that she wasn't there. She didn't show all the armbands that were there.
Oh, that's true. And you know what? She didn't mention anything else that was there.
Yeah, but,
except vague Americana.
Right.
But she doesn't know what was there.
She didn't mention the armbands that were there. And that was one of the most powerful pieces, were all of the armbands, because it shows it wasn't just the Jews. It was also the homosexuals.
Yeah.
It was also the communists. It was anybody who disagreed with the Nazi party. They all had their own special shape, their own special color. It wasn't just the yellow star. It was also the green triangle. It was the pink triangle. It was the red triangle. They all stood for something. She forgot all about that because all she wanted to do was just to be able to say he's a Nazi sympathizer. Why, if you happen to be, and we'll get off this soon, because I'm going to take it to court, I think. But why, if you happen to be living there, why would you support people who are doing this? And then they are doubling down today.
Yeah, they don't even back off and say,
you know why?
we should
because
have run this.
They said this is what was it, 65,000 hits to the story or something?
Yeah, I mean, they like
one of the biggest. All they care, they're traffic whores. That's all they care about. And that's why you saw so many people trash me.
Well, give them the kind of attention they don't want. Cancel your subscription to the Salt Lake Tribune today.
What we're doing right now is giving them attention, and we're saying to you, this is what they're doing. Don't read the story. Why do you even read the story? We're telling you what the story is. If you want to read it yourself because you don't trust us, that's fine. Then go ahead and do that. But that's what they want, is the traffic, so they can sell that. What they don't want is you to actually pick up the phone and cancel your subscription.
Yeah, this is a short-term thinking, obviously, by them. They're going to sit there and they're going to make a big deal out of this, and they'll get their few thousand hits here and there, and then thousands of people will cancel. So, I mean, if that's a good long-term strategy,
I'm going for tens of thousands of people canceling their subscription to the Salt Lake Tribune.
I didn't mean to.
And I'll work for the Deseret Morning News for free.
Yeah, me too.
I'll go deliver it door to door for free. I'll go for a week and deliver it door to door. You change your subscription, and you if they want to work out a deal, I'll go hand deliver the paper to the new subscribers, the ones
I've done it before. My son was a paper boy for the Deseret News when he was 12 years old. I'll do it again.
Do it. I will absolutely do it. If you're one of the subscribers that makes the Deseret Morning News number one against these people who are reprehensible. Reprehensible.
Evidence to that point. They ran a opposing thing from a listener of ours who said, hey, wait a minute, what you're saying is not right. Now, the listener titled it, I think it was On Glenn Beck and Nazis or something like that, saying on the crappy commentary you had last week. They changed the title to Uninformed Opinion. Now, technically, our listener was writing about the uninformed opinion of the other
original
writer, the original author. However, it makes it look like her opinion is uninformed as she wrote it.
Did the author of that letter, did they have a byline?
They did not have a byline.
They did not have a byline,
nope.
So it's different than Carl. Did they put their person's last name, uninformed opinion?
Nope.
No, they didn't do that.
No, they did not.
All they're doing, again, is doing everything they can to slander not only me, but anybody who thinks like me, anybody who listens to me. They are making this their bread and butter. This, I'm telling you, if you think this the Salt Lake Tribune is bad now, this will only make them worse. Because A, you're teaching them that you'll take it.
If they thrive through this.
Right. You're teaching them that you'll take it, and there's nothing that they can do. And B, because they're traffic whores, they will say, we're just going to keep saying these things. I'll bet you that this woman gets a job with them. I'm not kidding you. I'll bet you that they would hire either her or people like her.
Here's the latest headline. Gray, cancel your subscription to the Salt Lake Tribune.